What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is a video review of the Nerf Rival Edge Series Jupiter. This blaster here, it's a bolt-action, spring-powered internal magazine blaster that holds 10 rounds. This is totally a sniper rifle. Can it achieve sniper status? Let's get into the review and find out. Included is the blaster, bipod, target which comes disassembled, rival rounds, and the instructions. Assembling the target is very simple, all the pieces snap together. Blaster overview first. I'll take off the bipod so you can focus on the blaster itself. As always, starting up with the front, there is no in-strike attachment nozzle. Of course, it's a rival blaster, none of them have them. Above that is a front flip-up sight, which can be folded down. Can be folded up very easily like that, which corresponds with the rear iron sight. And if you have like a front optic or something and you want it down, you can just snap it down. On the bottom of the blaster is a rival rail. There's another rival rail up here. Keep in mind, this is not the same as an in-strike Nerf rail. Rival has their own attachments. So the included bipod works brilliantly with this blaster. This can't just snap onto any of your Nerf guns. It has to go onto a rival blaster. I'll go over the bipod after the blaster. Above the rail in the clear tube is the internal magazine. You can see it through the clear window on this side and on this side. I love it when they paint stuff clear so you can look into the blaster and see how many rounds you have left. On the top of the blaster here is the magazine loading port. To load, you prime back the blaster like that. Priming back the blaster automatically opens up the magazine. There's no additional flap like in the rival Chronos. So right when you prime it back, you're ready to reload by just pushing in your balls. The internal magazine holds 10 rival rounds, but this is an internal built-in magazine, so there's no way to take this mag out and quick change with a preloaded mag. Loading the blaster by pushing balls in the top is very much like the Chronos. If you're familiar with the Chronos, it's pretty much the same thing. Continuing up top, we have another Nerf rival rail. This is not an in-strike rail, it is a rival rail, and interestingly, they don't offer a rival sniper scope, so I'm not sure what you want to put up there, because a red dot just doesn't look right on a sniper rifle, you know what I mean? Solution, mount the bipod for the Aussies. And at the back of the rail are the two iron sights that correspond with the foldable front sight. These are fixed in place. There's no way to fold them down, like the front sight, which can go down. Now to the priming mechanism on the Jupiter. The propulsion is spring-powered, but to prime it, you'd use this bolt-action handle. It operates very much like a real bolt-action rifle does. You lift up first, then pull back, then push forward, and push down again. That contrasts with just pulling straight back, like on a long shot or a Centurion. The Centurion, the long shot, those are kind of bolt action, but they're not really. This is a proper bolt action rifle, so if you're going after that snipery feel, there's nothing more sniperish than a bolt action rifle. That's just a universal thing. The bolt cycles pretty well. I didn't have any jams and malfunctions in the bolt region or with this blaster at all, but it doesn't cycle buttery smooth like some other Nerf products. This has a little bit of grit in it. But the prime weight is pretty regular for a Nerf rival blaster. Of course, they shoot harder than normal blasters, so it's harder than a strong arm. Below the bolt is the trigger safety, or the trigger lock. It prevents you from firing. It's safe right now, so I can't pull the trigger. Then I lift it, and I'm able to fire. The safety and the bolt are only on the right-hand side. They are not on the left-hand side, so if you're a left-handed shooter, using a right-handed bolt gun is going to be pretty tricky for you. On the left-hand side of the blaster, we have an unjamming button. This works like most other Nerf unjamming buttons. After you prime the blaster once, you're not able to prime it again. This unjamming button, when you press it, you're able to reprime to clear out a jam or malfunction. It works like all the other Nerf unjamming buttons. I have not had any jams or malfunctions with this blaster. Down to the trigger pull is normal. The other Edge blaster that I just reviewed had a really, really heavy trigger. This is not the case. This is just a regular Nerf trigger. It does not have slam fire, but other than that, it's just a normal trigger. So no complaints. It looks cool, it's red, it's flat, so it looks kind of snipery like a performance blaster, but it feels the same as every other Nerf trigger, really. Down to the grip, this is an oversized grip, and as far as thumb hole stocks go, this is like barely classifying. In my mind, that's a good thing. It's a huge grip that has ample space for your wrist to move. I didn't feel cramped at all using this blaster through my testing procedure, which is not common for thumb hole stocks. Generally, they start to tick me off. After you get 500 or 600 rounds down range, it just starts to cramp up and feel uncomfortable. But very comfortable grip, definitely friendly to an adult. I have a large hand and it's still comfortable, but it's not going to alienate a younger person's hand. But keep in mind, the target market for rival blasters is a little older. I think the box advertises 14 and up. Moving back even further, there's a small notch in the blaster right here that's a priming indicator. Indicators generally indicate whether or not you're primed. This one is pretty vague though. It's kind of hard to read. You kind of have to get used to what is primed and what isn't. But it's a bolt gun, so if you don't know you're primed, what are you doing? So the priming indicator is pretty vague and not a very good indicator, but I don't think it's a big deal on a package like this. Moving back to the stock, it's not a gigantic stock, but it's in line with other rival blasters and other Nerf blasters in general. And in the back here, we have a monopod. So to open this, you push the little orange button and then you can pull that out. It has a spring return. It doesn't have a spring ejection, so when you just touch this button, it zips back up because there's a spring trying to pull the little pole back in. There are different height adjustments so you can kind of find the right one for you. Monopods are traditionally for like bench shooters if you want to lay it down and really line up the blaster so you're not supporting the weight of it. In Nerf, it's really not a big deal because we don't like camp. Freaking camper scrubs, we move around generally. So it's a cool feature, but I imagine it'll mostly be used for like balancing the blaster for a super sick Instagram shot rather than, you know, that super sick actual like Nerf shot. So overall, pretty cool, and if you don't like it, just keep it in there. The stock design kind of surprises me. I need to comment on this little divot right here. When you're priming a bolt gun, it doesn't make any sense to like hold it and do this. That's just a weird use of energy. You almost universally set it up against your shoulder and cycle the bolt like that. So you're bracing the blaster against your shoulder as you're priming, so you don't have to waste more energy in your hands. But after a few hundred shots, this little gap right here, because it's not a smooth stock like almost every other stock ever, that little thing kind of runs into your shoulder and can get uncomfortable after a few hundred shots. Granted, not many people sit still and shoot off a blaster a few hundred times in a row. Generally, if you're moving and stuff, it might not be a big deal, but my testing procedure is specifically designed to exhaust the ergonomics of the blaster, so I have to point it out, that's not really great. But interestingly, this little yellow piece, if you can see it in the picture, this yellow is different than this yellow, or lime. It's not actually yellow. And that's because this is a different material. This isn't standard plastic. It's almost rubberized. It has a bizarre texture that I haven't felt before. It's not super rubbery to the point where like it'll absorb stuff and get like sticky and gross real fast, but there's a little bit of texture, so when you rest your face on it, it's not like you're resting straight on plastic. It's almost rubberized. That concludes the external overview of the Jupiter blaster. Now to the bipod. The bipod is included with the blaster and it features a similar attachment mechanism as other rival attachments. So you can align it on the rail and then lock this, and it holds it in place. It doesn't slide on like normal Nerf in-strike attachments. The rival attachments are a little different. That being said, the attachment mechanism is strong. It wobbles a little bit, but it's not gonna snap off unless you really hit it hard. So the attachment is strong, and that's important on a bipod if you're putting up all the weight of the blaster. These little legs will lock into place at the 90 degrees, so you can have it, you know, back or up, whatever you want. And there's no lock on the bipod legs, so to pull down, you just pull it down. You don't have to unlock anything. But then the little feet are extendable, and those do require this little button here, and they can just drop out with gravity. There's no spring in this one like the monopod. But if you really want to adjust your shot, you can, you know, hit that, and it's multiple adjustment points, so you can find that perfect angle if it's important to you. I've never had a Nerf shot where I needed to adjust a bipod or even use a bipod ever. So again, probably just for the Instagram pictures, not the actual nerfing. But you don't buy a blaster like this to actually use it. You buy a blaster like this to shoot targets and look like a total badass while doing it. Because everybody wants to feel like a sniper for some reason. Don't know. That is the blaster bipod. Now to the target, which is also included in this package. This is a very similar but also very different target than the other Edge target, which was in my previous Edge review. They're very similar, but one massive difference, which I think is super cool, is they have a little piece of loose metal here and then a little metal like washer on the end of the target. So it spins on a pendulum just like this target, but when you strike the target, a little bell dings like a hit marker. How cool is that? I'm in love with this target. I think it's the coolest idea ever. It probably cost them 10 cents to add that little piece of metal, but it makes a world of difference. It's like a hit marker. The target base and all of the moving components are plastic. The only metal are these little washers that make that noise. It's not a mechanical part, like functional to the swinging of the target. But that made shooting this target a lot of fun. I thought shooting this target was also fun because it moves a little bit, and more importantly than like shooting cups, you don't have to go and reset it because it just wiggles a little and then returns back to where it was. This does the same thing. I did have a few cases of hitting the target, it wiggled, but I didn't give it enough force, like it wasn't a direct hit with enough energy to make the little sound. And when I shot Nerf darts at it, because they shoot a whole lot softer, it hit and it wiggled, but I got a lot more cases of it just not making that dinging noise. It's not a complaint, I'm just acknowledging it's not like an end-all. If you touch it at all, it'll automatically make a ding like an electronic target. This is mechanical, which I think makes it cooler. And I've talked about it before, I really like that instant gratification when you hit something and you know you did it well, to have that immediate conditioning, that immediate reward. To say, yeah, I hit it. Oh yeah, it feels good. I like it. This target, I like this target a lot, but this new one with the bell is even cooler. And I can't help but think of Hector Salamanca from Breaking Bad. That's the product overview. Let's see it out on the range. Firing standard yellow Nerf rival rounds. I was counting. I just did that to rustle your jimmies. Are they rustled? target. It's about 20 feet away. Like the best hit marker ever. Oh, get owned. Operating the rival Jupiter is certainly super fun because it feels like a sniper rifle. And I mean, I've shot a number of bolt guns, which are quote sniper rifles, and it feels very similar. The stroke is more like a 22, so it's not like you're using a long action or anything, but it's super fun and it's definitely up that snipery feel. And that's what they were going for with the Edge series. It's a target shooting platform. I don't personally think this would be the most effective blaster in a Nerf rival war because the Nemesis, the Prometheus, these full auto like powerhouse blasters exist. So if you allow rival blasters in your battle, expect somebody to bring a Prometheus or a Nemesis and just wreck everyone. A 10-round bolt gun is just not gonna do anything against a Prometheus. So separating from the Nerf war scene into target shooting and planking and shooting alone or with one friend when you don't have enough people to have a proper battle, you just want to shoot around and plank, this blaster is definitely fun. And I did not have any jams or malfunctions through my testing procedure. I do want to make a comment on the hop-up unit. It's a very active hop-up unit. So if you angle the blaster like this, the round's going to fly up and then over and kind of swing away from your target, which is a little frustrating and it really makes you hold the blaster still. It's a pretty active hop-up, but you can still hit stuff. And part of my critique is because I'm trying to shoot a 5-inch target, I'm not trying to shoot a person like a torso. So when you're trying to shoot real precise on a target, you notice when it's, pulling around a little off target. And to compare the Jupiter to other blasters, I put it up on my chronograph and I achieved an average velocity of 91 feet per second, which is pretty normal for a Nerf rival blaster, so it shoots pretty much as hard as the other rival blasters right now. That's all of the objective information I'm going to provide in this review on the Jupiter blaster. Now to my personal opinion. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with what the Jupiter has to offer. My argument against the blaster is primarily like philosophical on I don't think a bolt action rifle needs to be in the rival series. It just doesn't make sense for the roots of the rival blasters, but for a plinking toy and just completely separating from Nerf wars, because like I said, if you use a bolt gun in a rival round, you're going to get wrecked by any of the Prometheus, the Nemesis, any other rival blaster out there. But for target shooting, it is more fun, in my opinion, to use a spring blaster. Flywheel blasters are noisy, you have to charge batteries. If you're just plinking and you're not destroying other humans or zombies, you don't really need that. Oh shoot, did I just say that out loud? Whew, you don't need a flywheel? Whoa, whoa, who have I become? Oh man. But as a plinking toy, as a target shooter, as something just to kill time and have fun with, if you don't want to have an actual Nerf battle, I think it does a very nice job. 10-round internal capacity, it's a pretty slick, slim blaster. You don't have to fuss with magazines or anything. It's internal, so it's a little easier. But again, that only applies to target shooting. If you're speaking tactically, you always want more loaded magazines on your body ready to speed reload. The grip is comfy, the bolt action's fun to use. I mean, it's a fun-looking blaster that just looks like a sniper rifle. Honestly, my favorite part of this is the target, because I love that little ding. I just love that. It's so satisfying to hit that and have such a loud chirping sound. If you live with other people, you should probably be considerate with the noise because that would get really annoying. But I live alone, so I don't care. I did not experience any jams or malfunctions. The ergonomics are pretty solid. I like using it, so I don't think there's any objective reasons not to purchase it. If you see this and you're like, I need that, I must be a sniper. Like that's my destiny. This is definitely a great blaster for that target shooting application. Side note, I think the color is rad. Like, I love it. The line is cool, man. Getting off topic, I don't really want to interject a buy or not to buy recommendation because this is kind of outside my wheelhouse. I typically stick to Nerf war blasters. This is a target shooter. It comes down totally to, do you want to enjoy using this? Because it's not about competition, it's not about objective superiority, it's just about having fun. So if you like it, there's no objective reason not to buy it, so check it out. I'll leave a purchase link to this blaster in the description box below if you're interested in purchasing one. So that concludes my review and opinion on the Nerf rival Jupiter. Thanks so much for watching, bros, and as always, stay tactical.